Hello, I'm 5008 Creations, and you're the viewer. And welcome to my first actually good Railfanning video of 2024. Now, what do I mean by this? I'm essentially meaning that the video that's going to release next week is actually a video I made earlier that I didn't have fully fleshed out all my new ideas for Railfanning videos. So essentially, this is sort of backwards in how I'm uploading these, but might as well put my best foot first here in terms of bringing the channel back. So, yeah. This video is essentially going to be me walking you through my day at various places in North County, San Diego, and showing all the shots that I got along the way. So, let's get started. My day started off with me hopping on my local bus and heading over to my local transit center. You may notice that in some of these shots, you can see my bike on the front of the bus. That is because this time around, I finally brought my bike Railfanning with me, and this would really help out later in the day for getting around and allowing me not to have to stay at one spot the whole day. I then had to deal with the absolutely wonderful experience of having to take the blue line during a weekend rush hour that I never heard about from my local trolley station to Santa Fe Depot, which was 100% totally fun. So that was great. And I had to use a lot of power, more power than I thought, to just hold my bike in place during that whole trolley ride, which was just wonderful. And it's the only reason why I don't bring my bike Railfanning more often, because if that wasn't a thing, then I would certainly be bringing this bike Railfanning more often. But anyway, after I got to Santa Fe Depot, I quickly caught inbound Coaster 670 arriving, and here is that shot. Now, you may have first of all noticed that, yes, the non-quiet zone is still in place in Santa Fe Depot because they're doing another inspection at the end of the month, and there's no guarantee that they'll have it lifted by then either. So for the time being, trains are still blowing their horns in Santa Fe Depot. However, that does not mean at all that they have to blow their horns for long. As you will notice, that engineer did some of the lightest and most pathetic crossing horn sequences I've ever heard in my life. So, after that, I boarded Coaster 671 and made my way up to Carlsbad Village Station. Once we got to Carlsbad, I quickly made my way over to the front of the platform and recorded Coaster 671 departing Carlsbad Village, making its way over to its final stop of Oceanside Transit Center. Now, usually, at this point, Amtrak train 573 would come through and blow us all away with wind. However, San Clemente decided it wanted to be difficult again and fell for like the third time in a row at this point. So, Amtrak went back to its reduced schedule of 3 northbounds, 3 southbounds for the entirety of San Diego County. So, we had to wait until Amtrak train 1777 came through and then blew us away then. So for the time being, I had time to go all the way over to Tamarack Avenue for Coaster 674 to come on through and give me some really nice Doppler. Because Coaster 673 wasn't too far behind Coaster 674, we stayed over at Tamarack Avenue for a good while, waiting for Coaster 673 to pop up and give us a bit of extra horn in the horn sequence as he flew by us at a good 70 miles an hour. Now that we had gotten a very nice amount of horn there from NCTC 5007, using the high horn mainly, with a teensy bit of quill there, we made our way back to the platform just in time for Amtrak train 1777, where, well, you'll see what happens. Now, you naive viewer probably think that that was just a nice little extension of the horn sequence he did for us. But we've learned otherwise, as we heard over our scanners, or we didn't hear over our scanners, but a friend of mine who was over at Tamarack Avenue, who had his scanner on at the time, heard everything. And, quoting the engineer here, he said, "That's what happens when you stand too close," and then proceeded to talk to the San Diego sub-dispatcher about a bunch of people at Carlsbad Village Station. For those of you who don't know what that means you have been called in, as we like to call it over here. Now, what actually happens when that happens, well, I wouldn't know, because being the galaxy brain minds ourselves, we all scattered immediately, or most of us did. I was already going to leave, and to be perfectly honest, as you can see in that clip, if anything, I was standing rather far away from the tracks, but there were a bunch of other people near me, and one of them, being the big brain that he was, who I will not reveal in this video, but let's be honest, it's not going to be too hard to find that video, decided he would stand very close to the tracks, and another one decided that they would stand down near the end of the milepost near the Longboard Bridge. So, yeah. To be perfectly honest, I was kind of expecting this to happen. But with that giving me some more incentive to leave Carlsbad, even though I already was, we decided to head over to Cannon Road and get some shots over there, where I decided to try out a new shot, and I say it went rather well. Now, that time around, that was some friendly blasts of the horn, that being a weird cacophony of a shave and a haircut, and a Darth Vader. After this, we were waiting for Amtrak train 1770, which proceeded to not come in the time that we were waiting for it, so I decided to hop on my bike, head over to McDonald's, fumble with the fact that there was no bike lock at the McDonald's, so I proceeded to tie my bike up on a wheelchair accessible sign, because there was nothing else near the entrance where I could keep a close eye on it. Got the McDonald's, got back, and 770 and another coaster came in that time. I entrusted one of my friends over there to turn on my camera and turn it off between shots. While he did in fact turn it on for Amtrak train 770, he did not press the correct button to turn the camera off, so I ended up with a 12-minute long video mostly comprised of people walking around at CP Far waiting for a train to come. So I deleted that shot from my camera because that is just suicide on an SD card. So you will not be getting footage of another coaster and Amtrak 1770 because a person who I'm pretty sure knows how to turn off my camera just accidentally forgot how to turn off my camera, so yeehaw. But anyway, after that, I head down to Lucadia to try out a new shot that turned out to look pretty nice in the end. So here's Coaster 678 departing Encinitas and moving on its way to Poinsettia Station. That there is an example of when an engineer suddenly realizes that, oh, there's a rail fan standing there, and just tries to do a horn show, but ends up not being able to do one and just ends up doing a two-tap. After Coaster 678 went through, I proceeded to wait an excruciatingly long amount of time for Amtrak train 1774 to come on through and do a really, really long crossing horn sequence. And I don't mean long as in he held the horn long. No, he just split up each individual tap really, really far. After that interesting look at Amtrak train 1774 with the marker light still on for some reason, it was now time for coaster train 680 to come on by. This time, the engineer remembered that I was standing there and gave me a nice shave and a haircut when going into Encinitas. After that, I was pondering going over to the local 7-Eleven because I was really, 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 really thirsty, but then I realized that I was going home on Coaster 682 that day, which was earlier than I usually do, so I might as well just wait it out till I get home that day. So, I did not go over to local Starbucks. However, I did change locations to the other side of the tracks and up north a bit, in more of central Lucadia area for Coaster 679. After 679, me and a friend, who the other friend was down near almost to exactly where I was, were absolutely banking on Amtrak train 1785 having a cool guy who would give us some really nice horn show action. That proceeded to not be true, but I still got a really cool shot out of Amtrak train 1785. And with that, the Railfanning day was pretty much over. However, on my way down back home on Coaster 682, I noticed the engineer was giving out horn shows like candy to rail fans along the route. So I was absolutely eager to get on this action. So when I got off at Old Town, I rushed over to the end of the platform and got a really nice and clean shave and a haircut from my favorite cab car, NCTC 2306. And there you have it. That is my first major railfanning trip in 2024. In my opinion, it went rather well. No insane horn shows to see here, nor any insanely cool shots. Just a pretty nice railfanning day that does the job for the time being. Now, what railfanning trips I'll be going on later on? Probably some more in San Diego County. However, I am eyeing up Ventura, so you may be seeing some videos from that cool little place sometime soon. I'm also eyeing up San Luis Obispo again, because that place is just a cool place that I want to go back to again, as well as some other places around the general area, and possibly even outside of California. But that's neither here nor there at this time. So, for the time being, that will be it for this video, and I was 5008 Creations, you were the viewer, and I will see you in the future. Goodbye.